Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And somehow, Kylo Ren almost returned. Almost.
Yes, even though he was dead. But, you know, just like Palpatine and Darth Maul and a whole bunch of other characters, except Bob Iger said it wouldn't make sense for him to be alive.
Yeah, so they were going to do a solo movie, a Ben Solo movie with
The Hunt for Ben Solo.
With Adam Driver's Kylo Ren, but it's after he dies in the Rise of Skywalker. Somehow
he wasn't really dead. But they did this before with everything else, so they can't argue this. But I guess they had it cleared as a script. We're going to talk about it. And it was, everybody was like, Lucasfilm was like, oh, yeah, let's do this. But then Bob Iger is like, no, because he's already dead. After they brought back Palpatine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not complaining. I mean, maybe you're learning and you realized it was a bad idea. I don't think it was necessarily a good idea either. But I think there was other reasons and they were just using that as an excuse.
I think the reason is purely financial. It came out yesterday that Disney... you can see the declining returns in Star Wars movies.
And then the media was like,
Yeah, well, this is actually the media saying, oh, yeah, They actually have it now that you can see movie after movie, they made less and less money, and some of them actually lost money, and they're probably thinking, hey, a Kylo Ren movie is not going to make any money. And I have to wonder if it doesn't have something to do with just the feeling toward the sequel.
I think there's a lot going on, and I was going to talk about my thoughts on it here in a minute, but the Reylos are just like losing their shit.
They're losing their shit on Blue Sky. They're like, we could have had this. It's like, isn't that weird though? If they're talking about doing this mythical Rey movie, maybe it'll happen eventually. I don't know, but they're talking about doing a Rey movie. Then they're talking about doing a Ben Solo movie, but the watch be like, oh yeah, we're not going to put them together though. We're just
the Ben Solo is not happening. It already got like declined years ago. We're just finding out about it now. But what's funny to me is the people that were always like, when people were mad about Luke Skywalker, what happened with him and how they treated him, these same people are now posting the South Park, put a chick in it, make it lame, gay and all that. They're putting that there because they're mad because they're focusing on Rey and not Kylo Ren. So they're mad they're not doing a male-led film with him. And I was like, hello? Y'all were like pissing all over the old school fans for saying the same thing about Luke, but when it's your boy...
I think it's hilarious.
Break out the memes.
Because to this day, I still have not seen The Rise of Skywalker. You haven't seen The Rise of Skywalker. That was the only Star Wars movie we haven't gone to the theater to see the entire time we've been married.
It's the only one that I haven't seen it, but the only one that seems like it was more like, as far as they got the team together and they tried to make it feel more like Star Wars, and I won't see it because, the other ones were such shit.
Yeah, I don't have any interest. So we didn't go. It was so weird to have a Star Wars movie come out and we didn't go see it, and we still haven't seen it. I remember people being like, "You're eventually going to cheat and you're going to watch it." I'm like, "No, I know the basics. I
haven't seen even that much.
I've seen a couple of clips here and there just to see how bad.
I know she calls herself Skywalker, and somehow she's all the Jedi, and well, whatever.
Well, I did watch a clip of the ending, and all the Reylos were booing because she was like going off to be her own woman, and he's gone, and God, whatever. Anyway, let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
So tell me about this. You did a story on it.
So apparently he was working with director, how do you say his name? Soderbergh?
Soderbergh. Soderbergh, yeah.
So I guess after the movie was over, I guess 2021 or so, KK started sniffing around if would you be willing to come back? And he's like, yeah. If the right
script, I died.
If the right script was there, I'd love to come back because he's said nothing positive, but positive things about the character. Anyway, he got this guy, and they got another person. They came up with a concept, pitched it to Lucasfilm, and Lucasfilm said, yeah, that's a great idea. It was like Kathleen Kennedy and Dave Filoni and stuff like that. And they said it was a great idea. So they got a scriptwriter on it. They wrote the whole script, took it to them again. Once again, Lucasfilm's like, yeah, this is fantastic. But they got to Bob Iger and co. and like Alan Bergman and stuff. And they're like, nope, we're not going to do this because he's already dead. Which to me is funny because, they've already done this how many characters in Star Wars. But I think it's more due to the fact that at the time they were trying to distance themselves from the sequels, and they were doubling down on Mandalorian and all Ahsoka and Obi-Wan Kenobi and all these new things that are tied back to the old trilogy. which they found a way to ruin those too. And now their answer to ruining the old trilogy again is we're going to go back to Rey. But in somewhere among this search for the hunt for Ben Solo got declined and it disappeared. But I think that they said no, not because his character was already dead. Because since when does that matter in Star Wars?
Yeah,
because they were trying to move towards original trilogy, Mandalorian, Obi-Wan, that kind of stuff, and shows and Disney Plus and stuff. So that didn't get through. And my next thing is, when did this come to play? Because Iger in 2021 ended up not being the CEO. And he wasn't the CEO again until the end of 2023. So this either had to be when he was the chairman of the board or right before he left.
Maybe right before he left. Because
it's the only thing that makes sense, because otherwise it would have been under Chapek.
I was actually kind of hoping that the reason he couldn't do it was because he was too busy filming his role as Snape in the new Harry Potter show. But I'm surprised, plot twist, he'd be perfect, but whatever. But yeah, he said, I was interested in doing another Star Wars. I've been talking about doing another one since 2021. Kathy reached out. I always said, with a great director and great story, I'd be there in a second. I love that character and I love playing him. Well, they killed him off. So yeah, he survives his death. I mean, this is very much like Book of Boba Fett, though, but it's
any of them, like Darth Maul.
Let's see,
somehow the Emperor's still alive.
Somehow the Emperor survived. Boba Fett. Now I know everybody's like, well, expanded universe. Boba Fett was always alive. I'm like, when we were kids, we thought Boba Fett was fucking dead. Okay, he went into the bottomless pit. He got burped. They had a burp. You don't when you burp, it's over, right? The Sarlacc pit burped. It belched. Okay, that's the end of Boba Fett. But somehow he survived. Darth Maul gets cut in half, falls down a bottomless pit, and comes back with a robotic leg junk apparatus in the cartoon, and then they make it canon in Solo. And George Lucas, the reason he fucking cut Darth Maul in half, I remember this from the behind-the-scenes thing on the DVD, was he wanted people to know he wasn't coming back. Darth Maul wasn't coming back. He went down. Not only did he fall to his death, and apparently there were two different cuts. Like some theaters got the cut where he just fell down the shaft, and other people got the cut where he was cut in half. And then it became typical George Lucas, like he couldn't decide what he wanted to do. And then the canon is he got cut in half, but then somehow years later, Dave Filoni thought he'd bring him back with robo legs and a robo dick.
Well, we don't know about the dick part.
So Obi-Wan could kill him again in the cartoon, which is weird.
Yeah, but that would have been under Lucas, though.
Yeah, I know. At that point, I was like, Lucas was already kind of checked out.
But here's the thing. It's like, so apparently they loved it. They were all like on board. They understood the angle we were going for, he said. And they took it to Iger and Bergman, and they said they didn't see how Han Solo or Ben Solo was alive. Yeah, they didn't bring Han Solo back either. And that was that. And it's like, but that's what people are mad about. They're like, wait, that's where you draw the line? People find that funny. Leia spaced Jesus herself and all that. But, this is where you draw the line. It's not, because it was never about that. It was about the fact that it was losing money. They were trying to distance themselves from the bad choices of the sequel trilogy and the fact that they never had a plan. And they were trying to move forward with new things that were doing well at the time, like The Mandalorian and stuff that was everybody's talking about. Yeah. They brought back Luke to that to try to fix that problem and everything else. But then somehow Disney managed to fuck that all up too and mess up, The Mandalorian, Obi-Wan Kenobi. How do you mess up Obi-Wan Kenobi? Oh, you make it about Leia.
Yeah.
And then there's this Reva chick that suddenly appears for no reason.
I mean, they seem to snatch defeat from the jaws of success time and time again with Star Wars.
I know,
seriously,
right?
like there's so many times that, I mean, it just sounds like a slam dunk. Like Obi-Wan, it's like, oh, we're going to finally tell the story of Obi-Wan when he's on Tatooine. Now, I'll be honest, when I was a kid, I thought he was just kicking around in the bathrobe for 20 years. Just waiting for Luke to grow up.
And they got Hayden Christensen to come back. It was
got Hayden Christensen.
They were dueling, though. But, they still had things people wanted. And, this is going to win. And then they somehow managed to F that up as
Somehow they managed to F it. Oh, you're going to do a Boba Fett show? Well, Mandalorian was pretty badass, and he was pretty badass Mandalorian, so I'm sure the Boba Fett show is going to be action-packed, too.
Yeah, and even the actor was like, this is not what Boba Fett wouldn't talk so much. Fett.
I mean, seriously, like, Boba Fett could have been, like, badass bounty hunter, comes out of retirement, it's kind of like Rocky, and he comes back and he just starts like enacting his revenge all over the galaxy. And that would have been amazing. And it's like, nah, he's
He's freezing everybody carbonite, everything else. Yeah. Nope.
Can't have that.
He just talks a lot and he's boring.
He was.
And Power Rangers showed up for some reason.
And the Power Rangers show up. He shouldn't be talking hardly at all. Like, I want to see.
He said that. Tamora Morrison's like, this isn't Boba Fett. He wouldn't talk so much.
No, that's his dad.
Shut up, actor.
His dad was Chatty Cathy, and he got his damn head cut off. But yeah, come on. But yeah, people are wondering if maybe he's doing this shit to try to get Disney interested in the movie. I'm like, they need to just stay away from anything to do with the sequel trilogy.
I think so too. But if they're going to do something with the sequel trilogy, I think a Ben Solo movie would go better than the Rey movie.
A prequel, a Ben Solo prequel, like where do we know where the hell the Knights of Ren came from and what they are?
The Knights of Ren maybe, but I would not do the one where Luke tries to kill him, because I think they're trying to distance themselves from that brain fart.
Yeah. Just the whole Knights of Ren. Like, please explain the Knights of Ren. Please explain the First Order. To this day, I do not know. I do not know what the First Order is or where the hell they came from.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're like kind of quasi stormtroopers. Where'd all the money come from? Oh, I have to read the books. I'm not fucking reading the books. I don't care. Where'd they come from? We had a whole
that's just it. You have to read this comic and this book and watch the Fortnite, whatever, and everything.
Watch Fortnite and find out how Palpatine
because
came back.
they kept doing all this stuff and so sprang out. Just, you know what? You have to assume that people aren't going to read that shit because they aren't. Now, I would have back in the day. I read everything I get my hands on, but most people aren't. And you have to assume they aren't going to. And you have to spell it out again in the movie so that the normies can understand what the flip's going on. I don't know.
That's the thing. I think it's very simple to see why the First Order existed in the sequel trilogy. It's because Disney wanted X-Wings versus TIE fighters and stormtroopers. So if we made it too different, because George Lucas, if he had done a sequel trilogy, it probably would have been very different from the previous two trilogies, because you always make sure visually they look different. So it would have been like different kinds of bad guys, different planets, whatever.
Different ships, different things, for toys and stuff like that, because he was all about that.
But Disney wanted to sell stormtrooper figures and Millennium Falcon toys
they wanted to be
and
lazy.
X-Wings. And it was lazy. It's like, oh yeah, 30 years later, the technology looks exactly the same, even though between the prequels and the original trilogy, things were very, very different. Well, now just everything looks exactly the same as it did 30 years ago. And somehow
Rise of the Resistance, that's why.
Rise of the Resistance. And somehow the Empire, which has been wherever the hell's going on, they've been in hiding, but somehow they have infinite money to not only build a bigger Death Star, but build a whole bunch of new ships and give everybody new uniforms. And they have a whole fucking fleet on some other planet somewhere. Where'd all the money come from?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Just consume,
I don't know.
Consume product,
make any
moron.
sense.
I mean, there's a lot of loopholes in the originals too, but it's just like, I don't think most people even care at this point. Let's be honest. Most people Star Wars is pretty much dead. No one cares. I don't know if you can bring it back as easy as Palpatine, but it's funny though, because the Reylos are like losing their shit on social media. Like they are like mad.
Yeah, they're the hunt for Ben Solo crying could have happened. They're like, yeah, they didn't see how Ben Solo was alive. Somehow Palpatine returned. Free Ben Solo. Somehow he returned. We could have had a Ben Solo movie. Oh my God, guys. This one, though, this is true. They didn't see how Ben Solo was alive. Well,
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, I'll give them that. The argument was lame, but I don't think that was the real reason they didn't do it. That was just an excuse they gave.
Yeah, I think it was basically financial. It was like, these movies are declining. We're going to try the Mando thing. People want original trilogy. The sequel trilogy doesn't work. But then they're going to turn around a year or two later and be like, we're doing a Rey movie.
That's what they did. Yeah, no one wants more Rey.
You know what? You can't find Kylo Ren action figures at Ollie's as easily as you can Rey Skywalker / Palpatine figures at Ollie's.
No,
they're all over the
Palpatine.
place.
I'm sorry. I refuse to acknowledge that she's Skywalker. She's not.
Wow, this is just now begins
but he is. He's part Skywalker.
He's part Skywalker. Somehow Ben Solo hasn't returned. They didn't see how Ben was alive. Well, first of all, through the dyad, all things are possible.
Oh, they keep saying about that. The dyad, because
oh my God,
he had the dyad with her, so he's still alive and all
Here
that
we got the Reylos, and that's like the most Tumblr art. No offense to Tumblr artists, but that's just like, yeah, this is just wild. Who cares about dumb old Ben Solo? Am Driver. I do. Let's see.
I'll give him that he was doing it. He was taking it upon himself to going out there and getting this done. He said it was really excited. He said it was a really good script. I'll give him credit for that. Like, dude liked the character enough and cared about it enough to try to go and on his, own and do this. And I think that was pretty impressive that he did. But
how I woke up this morning knowing yesterday wasn't a complete fever dream and we could have had a Ben Solo Lives movie by now. I don't know. I mean, I think Adam Driver's a really good actor. If they actually had the right director, right script, it might actually work. But nobody gives a shit. I mean, honestly, he's wasted on Star Wars at this point.
Yeah, he really is.
But the Reylos, man, they're going to be. So now this is going to be the new thing. Now they're going to hopefully leave people like us alone, and they can just go after Disney, and they can just be like, you need to give us this movie, or else Disney, you're bigot Nazi homophobes if you don't give us a Reylo movie we want. This is like the new She-Ra movie, right? Remember they're all like, oh, we're getting a She-Ra movie, make it trend. I'm like, no, bitches, you're never getting a She-Ra movie. They only wanted a
She-Ra movie if it was based on. No, they were mad because they wanted their next season to be the movie and it wasn't going to be their show. And they were ticked about it. But they're like, Ray feels half of his missing. He needs to heal his wound. This can save the saga. It's like, it's not going to save the flipping saga. I mean, I do think more people would go see that than they would see a Ray movie, but that's just me.
Yeah. So there we go, guys. We could have almost had a Ben Solo movie. What do you think?
I don't know. They're going to try to get this made now they know about it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You can make it with AI. How you feel about that?
They don't want that. They'll be like that one meme with the two buttons. They'll be sweating. Which button do I push, man? Anyway, we're going to wrap this up.
We're going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.
For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.